By now you would have realised, as you're talking to your self-harmers, that it is quite impossible to actually do. What I do is I use an analogy. This analogy is stairs. Why stairs? Let's look at it this way. If your self-harmer knows exactly when they're going to commit their next act of self-harm, then basically what they will do is be 15, 20 stairs in front of you. I hope you understand where we're going with this. Right. So what we want to do is we want to slow them down. Now, if you're like me, you're old and you're slow, you ain't running up the stairs. No way whatsoever. So what I do is I get them to try and slow down. As we go through descaling, you will understand that sometimes you have to use covert ways of talking to people to try and get them to talk back to you. Don't go in head first and then think afterwards, I wish I'd have done this differently. The idea of descaling methods is to turn around and make you aware of what you can do now to help your self-harmer in the future. So I want this one person to be back down here with me. They've got themselves into a rut over the last 3 months or whatever, 6 months, whatever, 8 months, 9 months, whatever. Remember, it's episodal. Self-harm is episodal, it will always be episodal. There is no change whatsoever. You cannot change that. So they're here, for instance, and basically what we want to do is we want to get them back here. How do I approach this person here to try and get them to descale down to a level where I can talk to them on their own level playing way? Never assume. You should never ever assume that any method you use will work for every other person. It won't. Yeah? When it comes to leaving comments after the class, or if you're online, there's a comments box that we've added to the actual course. If you've found ways that you think you can actually use to help other people to talk to you, then please leave the comments in the conversation section. This doesn't help me, it helps your fellow students. These in the classroom will be handed out to everyone in the class. Online, they will be on for your online community. Descaling number 1. Here's a technique I use for people I know who deliberately burn themselves. These were inmates at the Morsley Hospital in Camberwell. They were personal friends, really, but they were all under the Camberwell NHS Trust. One method I used was this. Ouch. Oh, why are you doing that to me? And then I asked the question, and that was this. Here we go. I'll let that be now. Don't worry about it. I'll go through it anyway. The idea is this. You turn around and you say to them, if your skin could talk, for instance, what would it say to you? The shock on their faces is incredible. There we go. What? I said, imagine if I was your skin. If I was your skin, then I can talk back to you. And they go, what? And I said to you, why are you hurting me? And they went, I never hurt you. I said, I know that. I said, but I'm trying to understand why you would hurt yourself. Quite surprisingly, nearly every single one of these people decided to have a lengthy conversation about why they either hated their skin, they had so much trauma at home, and so on and so forth. I'd managed to get them back down to stair 1. They were up here, they're now down here. They're talking to me. I suppose in a way, if you look at this picture, it's got a massive, I should imagine this was somewhere around Christmas. Quite out very soon, isn't it? But I should imagine When you realise that this person is now coming back down to slowly talk to you, because they want to, they realise that you're there for them, not yourself. Now when you realise this, and you must always remember this, self-harm, as we have continually said, happens alone and for the single person. Yeah? It's the single person. However, there is a misconception amongst professionals. This misconception is this. Now, if you have more than one person together who commit the same thing as your self-harmer, this is what's called group cohesion. Group cohesion means that you are deliberately going out and doing exactly what the other person's doing. That's not self-harm. For some people and some scholars believe it is self-harm. Well, if I'm self-harming myself because you're self-harming yourself, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it because you're doing it. I would say that's group cohesion. Anyway, back to it. As I said, I asked you, if I was your skin, what would you say to me? I was really surprised. I mean, you can use this in any situation whatsoever. Say, for instance, you've got someone who, although they come, but they also starve themselves. You could go, I'm your body. I need nourishment. Why are you depriving it from me? You'll be surprised at how many people then turn around and say to you, but I wouldn't starve you. I'm starving me. And that is the beginning of the whole process. You now have then, okay then, fair enough. Why are you doing that? What is the real reason? As we've learned, bullying is probably one of the main factors. If it's someone who, as we will see where self-harm happens in the next module, it could be anywhere. And these people will do this no matter what. They will always self-harm and let someone do it in front of you. Those are serious self-harms. Those are the ones that you can see personally, like those with anorexia nervosa, bulimia, who are deliberately doing something in front of your eyes. You want to help. You want to say, just stop it. But the problem is, if you say, just stop it, you're not going to get through. Also, we must remember that shock techniques like this should be used with caution. We don't want to tip the scales further that way that we can't get them to come back this way. We don't want them to turn around and say, I heard what you said, but I don't really want to know. Because that's not helping them and that's not helping you. You are not helping the self-harmer. You are just ticking boxes. Once again, we're back to professionalism. What I did all that, who cares? Don't want to talk to me, don't talk to me. Just because one tactic works and one doesn't mean you shouldn't try a different tactic. Every tactic you use will be completely different. And every time you use something like these shock techniques, you will then find that these people will come back to you time and again. Because they know you care. And if you care, they can see you care. Don't be unapproachable. That is key when you're talking to self-harmers. Keeping an open mind. If you can't keep an open mind about how you're going to take this, how you're going to talk to that person, how you're going to express this to that person, go back and think. Don't approach the subject. Don't go, well, I'll use that tactic anyway. It don't work. Oh, who cares? I tried. That does not help. What you need to do is to go back and try others. If they have friends and they prefer a friend to sit there with them, let and sit in on the conversation. Remember, it doesn't make any difference who they are. If they're relational, then obviously brothers, sisters, then that's fine. If they're personal friends, that's even better. Some people will open up with a friend rather than a family member. Why is that? Because they're frightened that their family member will go, oh no, I never knew. And that is a big problem. Because once your self-harmer sees that on the face of their loved one, they automatically commit the next step. Automatically commit it. They will go out and do it. You sat there all day long listening to them inside some sort of psychiatry situation, or you sat there listening to them amongst other people in a family situation. We do family therapy. We will come on to therapies in the next module. But basically, what we will do, this is module 2, 3, whatever. Yeah, we'll get it right in a minute. But it doesn't make any difference. Wherever it is, it's like once you've given lectures over and over again, you sometimes forget which day, year, and everything else is. So basically, sorry. But what you will do is find out that, if it is personal, they will talk to you. If they have someone who is not related to them, they will talk twice as much. Remember, approach them, ask them, would you like someone else here with you? They may say, no, I don't want anyone here with me. I don't want anyone else knowing. That's fine. You are their audience. Remember, anything you hear them say, don't take it outside the door. It's not there for the rest of the world. It's there for you and your self-harmer. You must never ever take anything you hear about anyone and say, well, blah, 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 to anyone. Because basically, you will then make an enemy of your self-harm. And it may well cause them to do their next act of self-harm. Moving on. Descaling number 2. You can use any of these descaling methods for any form of self-harm. How you approach it and everything else is entirely up to you. You can change things, work things around, turn it around again to benefit you. One technique I used with anorectics was this. I would ask them if they had more than one coat on and it's cold outside. Can I have one of your coats? I see you're wearing 2 coats. I'm going to borrow it until we get indoors. Is that okay? If they, for instance, as this says, they don't answer you, they refuse to take the coat off, or anything else like that, you could be dealing with someone who self-harms through food. It's a common analogy, it is a clear indication that they may be self-harming food relationally. They're starving themselves. They don't want you to see. They've got this big coat on and they've got the other big coat on to make them look normal. That's who they are. But to try and talk to them, it's always best to try and say, don't try this in the wall, obviously, because you could end up fainting. They may be used to the idea of what they're doing, because basically this one point, and I have to make this 100% clear. If you see someone wearing 2 coats in the summer, it's because their blood sugar level is so low, they're virtually cold anyway. They're that close to being tipped over the edge. If you're not like that, and you take that coat because you try it in the summer, you could faint. Because your blood sugar levels are quite different. You will perspire twice as fast with the coat on, and this will actually drain your blood sugar virtually to more or less what theirs is. Constantly. Theirs is constant. They have spouts where they don't eat. then they'll eat, then they'll go back to not eating, then they'll eat, they could eat for 2 months, start for 1 month, eat for 2 months, start for 1 month. It's a pattern. These people, if you then turn around and take their coat off them in the summer, will then realise that once you start sweating, you're not cold at all. You are out trying to find out what they're doing. You've then pushed them away. You might as well have not started the process in the first place. Also tried the cold outdoors method, as I said. How cold it really is to them. Instead of actually asking for the coat, they say, oh, do you mind if we pop inside? Let's pop inside somewhere warm. Yeah? You've got a coat on, obviously. You get in here, you go, oh, that's much better. Lovely. Give me 10 minutes to warm up. Keep your coat on for 10 minutes. See if you can. There's a challenge for you. I very much doubt you will. But it's just, the point is this. After about 10 minutes you go, oh, that's really warm. I'll take the coat off. Why didn't you take your coat off? You know, you look quite warm as well. Now you're not saying to them, you look ill, or anything else. You're asking, saying to them, you look warm, you look quite warm. Why didn't you take your coat off? If they then remove one layer, and there's another coat underneath, that's a clear sign you are dealing with someone who has food-related operations going on in their head. It's a case of, oh no, I really can't be doing this. They will then try and find excuses to get out of the room. They will go. They will disappear. Yeah, I'll see you later, mate. That's it. Fine. You've lost them in that moment. Don't ever follow them. Because they want to be where they are. They want to be. But they never know, the minute you don't do that you were trying to find out how they were and what they were doing and what they're like. These people then will come back and say, look, listen, you know, we were talking the other day and we went indoors and you said I looked hot. And in fact I was. But I didn't want to take the coat off because I have a body image problem. And they were calling it a body image problem. They may have been bullied at school. So, oh, you're fat. Most of these kids and most of these adults are never ever going to be fat, ever again. Because they've starved their whole body to a certain extent that even their organs have shrunk. So they can't withhold that information that they're ever going to be normal ever again. These are the severest self-harmers you will come across. But trying to descale them so you can actually talk to them and get them back down to stair number one is the easiest thing to do. If you approach it open-minded. Remember, open-mindedness. Don't go in like a bull in the china shop because you won't get nowhere. They will not listen to you. Obviously, these two scenarios, for talking, will need some great conversations with your self-harmer. If they do not, however, open up and then do not give in. Remember, this is only a couple of scenarios that I have used to great effect. How I use them and how you use them afterwards when you take them away with you is completely different. I've always been told, Mark, you're approachable. Anyone can talk to you. And that's the thing that you need to be. You need to be approachable. So the idea here is, I'm teaching you how to be approachable. If someone says to you, I want to say something, don't come in and say, I haven't got time at the moment. Because then they'll go away. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to want to know you. Oh, he's not good, is he? I thought he said he was here to help me. Listen, stop for 5 minutes of your life That 5 minutes may be the 5 minutes of their life. And if it's your life that you needed to do, then 5 minutes, those 5 minutes, then take them, grab them, put them in your pocket and say, I achieved something today. I took that 5 minutes, I helped that person. Now we can move on. Now we can have discussions. Now they're going to talk to me. That 5 minutes in your pocket is a success. That 5 minutes left on the table is gone. That person will get up, disappear, and you might never see them again. That we have to avoid. We have to avoid that at all costs. We are here to help self-harmers. We're not here to help ourselves. Yes, take that 5 minutes and put it in your pocket. I'll achieve something. But remember, that is only the start of the stepping stone situation. You're getting them back down here. Once they're down here, you want to keep them here. You don't want to go back up again. Keep them here and try and work with ways to actually help them. In the modules on talking therapies, art therapies, drugs, pharmacological, herbal remedies, or whatever. These are prescribed drugs. They are drugs, they are classed as drugs. No matter what anyone else tells you, they are drugs. And that's why when we turn around and talk about drugs in the uptick and non-prescribed drugs, as we remember, what do? If you take somebody else's prescribed drugs, you're taking non-prescribed drugs. So we have to remember that as well. So you want them down here. You need them here. Once you've taken that 5 minutes, shoved it in your pocket, keep them there. It will always help them. As Bethany mentioned before, those are skin and scamming. One scenario you could use, which is quite interesting really, if you think of Hollyoaks, EastEnders, so on and so forth. I don't watch any of those programs. There you go. You could turn around and say to yourself, did you see that program the other day, Steve? 9 times out of 10, Steve, what one? And what about those that secretly harm themselves? You haven't turned around and said to them direct, I think you harmed yourself. You've used something. Remember, social media can be a power for good, it can also be a power for badness. The images I've seen on self-harm online are obviously not in this. The whole course is not known, because it does not help you. You do not need to see what it's like when people cut themselves silly or whatever. You don't need to see what it's like when they're like that, slouched up against the wall, where they're drunk, on drugs, or whatever. You don't need to see that. What you need to see is, what do we need to do to make Steve feel happier? Because once we've got Steve's attention, then basically put, we've won. We can help Steve. Steve knows that he wants to be helped, and he wants to be helped by us. You can need to try other things, other methods, whatever, but don't really think that because he doesn't harm Steve, that he is a self-harmer. You may have cause to believe because his parents have turned around and said, I think my son is self-harming. What do we do? Let me have a chat with him and I'll tell you. It could be quite boring. It could be that Steve really doesn't know anything anyway. He doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. He may have autism. He may not understand the questions. He may have dyslexia. And you turn around and say to him, can you write down, I can't read read it. Oh, you can't read it. Oh, fair enough. We won't go there then. But let's try and explain it my way. Yeah? Never say to any self-harmer, your mum and dad tell me you self-harm. That is like shutting the door. Once it's shut for good. Don't ever think for a minute until I open up again. You won't see Steve again. He'll avoid you every time you come around the house. Oh, all right. Well, is he all right? There's something you said. Something else? Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Because you may remember that a self-harmer has had so many different things going on in their brain already that they don't want to. They can't find the time to talk because they're thinking on the other stuff altogether. When we look at pharmacological drugs and that of herbal remedies, there are two different distinctions between the two. Some you will find quite frightening, but we'll come to that later. As I said, don't assume he is. You can use this method with those who use drugs to self-harm, because it's on TV. It's on programs all the time. Why? I don't know. Why people need to see this, I don't know. I can't quite understand it. If I'm showing somebody how to take drugs, self-harm, on TV, and I've got a self-harmer that I'm dealing with who takes drugs to self-harm, this person on the television might be able to show them a new way of doing it. I'm going to try and avoid that at all costs. No, that's all what. Scabbing. Yeah, you see it? In the other scabbing. Yeah. If I see that on TV, I see someone sitting there doing that all the time. Are they scabbing? Or have they got obsessive compulsive disorder? They may not have a scab. And they're just like scratching their skin. Could be obsessive compulsive disorder. You don't know. But if there's a scar there where they're having one, there may actually be someone who used to self-harm. And the thought is still there. The thought process is still there. Don't think, and I keep on saying this, don't think you will stop them from ever thinking about self-harm. You will not. The idea is to get them to cope and have coping strategies where they can actually turn around and they can actually talk to you. Eating disorders, all of them, every single one of them, you can use a descaling method to help you out. Remember, whatever tactic you use, try to reverse the question away from what you're talking about. This is what I like to call reverse psychology. Those ones that you saw there at the beginning, where I said, oh, what are you doing to me? I'm talking about me. That self-harm is now going, oh, I didn't burn you. Oh no, sorry, did that come out really loud? Oh, sorry. I was thinking, what if I was your skin and I could talk? And fascinating conversations come out of that. It's unbelievable. Remember, once you have their attention, the key point is to try and establish the facts of self-harm. Not to disengage from talking, but to enhance their belief that you want to help. You have to be there, at that moment, in that moment in time, to help them. If you can, and you will, they will listen. If they listen, you will be able to help. Once you help them, they will be able to move on. Once you've moved on, once that person's moved on, you can be able to work with the next person. Thanks ever so much for listening.